What's up, guys? Joe at Odyssey Off-Road. So I wanted to talk about the air intake I have on this Raptor. I've gotten a few questions about it and how it performs and stuff like that. And I kind of briefly touched on it on the 3-year ownership review of the machine. But I know a lot of you guys run FCI intake, and those of you that don't have an intake at all, whenever you ask, that's the first thing everybody says is get an FCI intake. And I will say that's obviously the best performance you're going to get from an air intake. That's undeniable. Not debating that. But depending on your riding and what type of mods you plan on doing to your Raptor, it may not be necessary, and in some ways could be a detriment, depending on the riding you do and where you ride. So the FCI intake you can get with no airbox at all, or you can get it with their airbox, but there's no lid. It just would be basically like as if you took the lid off of your stock intake with their intake tube, which is designed for the maximum amount of flow. Now, if you're not doing any major engine mods or a bigger throttle body, if you're just doing a big three, exhaust, some type of air intake you want to do, and then getting it tuned on a dyno, an adapter style filter with no airbox lid is sufficient. And an FCI intake, although maybe you'll get a little bit more power, it's going to be negligible compared to an adapter style intake just for doing an exhaust and a tune. If you're doing cams and stuff like that, bigger throttle body, and you're getting into the motor, then you're going to need all that air you can get. And that's when the FCI really comes into play. Guys that are doing like the big five, doing a cam, throttle body, an exhaust, and all that stuff. But if you're just going to do an exhaust system and you want to let it breathe a little better, put a better air intake on it, and you have a power commander, 5 or 6, this style here I'm going to show you is all you really need, and it's cost effective and very versatile. So let me take my seat off and I'll show you this. I have the adapter style GYTR billet adapter and foam filter, like a uni style foam filter by ProDesign, which fits the adapter. So the GYTR adapter is the same size as the ProDesign's billet adapter. So they almost look like identical, other than the GYTR one says GYTR on it. So, and then what you see here on the top is this is a ProTech airbox lid. So rather than just not running an airbox lid at all, this has a outerwears in the cover. So you're basically pre-filtering the air entering the box, but you get basically the same performance as if you had no lid at all, but you're keeping all the large particles and sand and some of the dust out before it gets to your filters. You're kind of extending your filter life and you're keeping your airbox a little cleaner. Now, full disclosure, this was the first ride I had with this setup. Went to the dunes this weekend, and this is the first time I've used it with this setup. So I haven't taken the lid off. I don't know what it's going to look like in the box, how much dirt it filtered out. But I can tell you, prior to this trip, the last trip I did, I had this intake without the ProDesign's cover on it, and the airbox was caked with dirt. It was disgusting, and the filter was also disgusting. So I'm very curious as to how it's going to be when I take the ProTech lid off, what it's going to look like in there. So let me pop that off, and we'll show you guys and kind of talk about how I feel the performance was with this intake setup. All right, interesting. So let me grab the camera. So you'll see there's a little dirt in there still, and you can see actually where the top of the lid was almost on the filter. And there is some dirt in the box, but not that bad. It's just fine dust. Just some fine dust. There's no large particles of sand or anything like that. So the filter's a little dirty, but Doesn't look like it made its way through the outer portion of the outer part of the filter. It's very surface oriented, you know, in terms of the penetration of the dirt. So this filter's really, I mean, you can clean it, but probably you can get away with just cleaning the outer part. And you can honestly probably get away with another couple of rides not cleaning it at all, because it's really not that dirty. So as far as performance goes, and you'll see here, so there's the billet adapter. And then I just have this filter on there, and then that lid. It helped a lot. Like I said, the last ride, this box was full of sand and dirt, and so this is helping tremendously. And you'll see what I did here is to kind of help it. When you get one of these ProDesign covers, let me put it on the workbench here so I can better show you. So when you get the ProTech cover, when you order it, these bolts are turned around, and you'll see with mine, because I got such a big, that ProDesign foam filter is gigantic. It's very big. So with that in there, when you put the lid on, it touches it ever so slightly, you know, almost rests against the foam just a little bit. So with the way it comes, the bolts coming through, that would be on the bottom. So I just kind of flipped the bolts around so you don't have that issue. And then what I did was, it doesn't come with any type of seal or anything on it. So I lined the whole outer edge with felt. Just cheap felt. I mean, you can get it at, like, you know, Michael's or any type of arts and crafts store, and just cut it, adhere it. It's got, you know, self-adhesive. And then so when you put it on the box, it seals nice, keeps all the large sand and stuff from getting sucked in on the edges. And it also prevents it from rattling, because otherwise it would just be metal on top of the plastic. And then with the clips, it can slide around a little bit. The felt keeps it in place firmly. But the filter lid itself definitely does its job. The airbox is not that dirty compared to the trip without it, for sure. And you're getting the effects of basically an open airbox, but you're getting some pre-filter. So this is a little pricey. It's about I think I paid $105, maybe $98. It was somewhere around the $100 mark from Rocky Mountain ATV. I ordered it. You can find them on Amazon, and maybe you can get it for $1 or $2 cheaper. But if I remember correctly, I think Rocky Mountain ATV was actually the cheapest place I found it. So that's a good investment. It's better than the standard airbox, in my opinion. So first of all, if you're running this airbox lid, and that, which I still have, and I could throw on there if I wanted to, like if I was running through really wet conditions and I wanted to kind of have the air, you know, pulling from up higher and keep it sealed up down low, I could use this still, so I have it. But you'll see that kind of chokes it off. That's the only place you're pulling in air on a stock intake, and all the dirt and dust is just getting pulled through there. There's no pre-filtering at all. So now you're getting basically an open air box with pre-filtering. So it's a double benefit, really, that lid. It's really nice. So the air intake itself, as far as adding power, I mean, it definitely makes a huge difference. And I can tell you, because I ran this machine with just the Yoshimura exhaust and the Power Commander, which is back there. And I ran the DynoJet tune for Yoshimura exhaust and stock airbox for over 2 years with that setup. And she ran good. It never ran too lean. The pipe never got hot. Pipe never got red, I should say. It never had a condition where the pipe got red with that tune and just the Yoshi exhaust. When I put the adapter filter on, I brought it to, and the plan was I wanted to get it custom dyno tuned and actually put it on a dyno. So I brought up the Dirt Fiend Racing in Phoenix, and after the adapter filter was on and not doing anything with the DynoJet tune, same tune I had been running forever, the bike idling for like 30 seconds, the pipe instantly was glowing red. I mean, glowing red, cherry red. So that tells you right there it's pulling in way more air than stock. So it's obviously working. He had to add a lot more fuel to get it to run, you know, in a safe zone there, so to speak. Your air-fuel ratio correct. He had to dump a lot more fuel into the tune. So it definitely works. It's a good investment if you're just planning on an exhaust and you want to go a cheaper intake route. I like the foam filters too. That's another plus for me. I'm not a fan of the K&N style. I've seen way too many motors burn up from either them allowing dust in there, improperly oiled. It's easy to do with those. So I know people like to run them, and that's fine. If you've had success, that's great. But I've never seen an instance where a foam filter oiled has burnt up a motor. And the K&N style kind, I have seen instances where people have burned up their motor, the top end, or destroyed their valves, or have dirt in the air intake from those style filters. They're great on the street and for street bikes and trucks and vehicles that don't, get a lot of dusty conditions, or if you don't ride a lot of dusty conditions. But I do ride a lot of dusty conditions. I feel much safer with the foam. So the adapter filter with that ProDesign's filter, which is it's a gigantic filter, it takes up almost the whole box. Really works out well. I mean, it's a great setup. So I highly recommend it. It added a tremendous amount more power between that and the custom dyno tune, which was necessary once I did that because, like I said, it was obviously running very, very lean at that point. So it's a win-win. So if you guys are looking for an intake, you're not looking, you kind of want to keep the ability to be able to run your stock airbox, this is a good setup. Don't let people tell you you're not going to make any power. You're going to make plenty of power with an adapter style filter setup. I'm having great success with running it. The power feel, especially on the bottom end, and the over rev is much, much better. Second gear, there's much more over rev in second gear. I found climbing, big hills at the dunes. And the low end torque is just, there's gobs of it. I mean, these machines have them factory, but with the air intake setup, it's a night and day difference. So highly recommend. I just wanted to kind of, go over that with you guys. I didn't really go into it in too much detail on the 3-year walk around video of the quad. And I've gotten a few questions on it, and kind of want to show you is after, using it for a bit, how it's working for me, give you my feedback and recommendations. So there you have it. Get an adapter style filter with the ProDesigns. You just get the whole ProDesigns kit. Honestly, it comes with the adapter and that filter. I had the GYTR adapter and just got the ProDesigns filter to fit it. So you can just order right from ProDesign, get the adapter and filter from them, get the Protect lid, and you're all set. And then you'll have the ability to put your stock airbox lid on there if you need to. And if you're going to be riding in really wet conditions, for sure it's going to be muddy and raining or whatever, throw the stock box on there and you don't have to worry as much. And then the outerwears too, it is water resistant. So if you get a little bit of a splash, it'll kind of help it from getting through into the air filter. But if you're going to run wet, just put the stock airbox lid on. For when you're running with the FCI intakes, I mean, unless you're just running dunes and you run mostly dry conditions, there's always that fear factor there with if you get into sticky situation or really wet conditions, there's no protection at all. So I like the peace of mind for the longevity of the machine to be able to have a lid on there, some type of lid anyway, whether it's the Protect or the stock lid box. With the Protect lid, you definitely need to get more power out of it. But like I said, you have the ability to go back and forth. So that's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. I'm obviously not an expert, just somebody who recreationally rides. I'm not a racer either. But that's my firsthand feedback. My ass dyno tells me there's a gob more power to it. It's just night and day difference. It's not even like the same machine, to be quite honest with you. So I have zero hesitations. I would have zero hesitations, I should say, if you're thinking about getting an adapter style air intake and running a Protect lid, even a stock airbox lid, you're going to get some more power. But get the Protect lid, get yourself an adapter filter, and get it tuned, because she's going to need definitely a lot more fuel, and you'll be good to go. So hope this is helpful for somebody. This is Joe from Odyssey Off-Road, and check out the rest of the channel if you have first time clicking on one of my videos. There's a ton of content on the channel. We got Jeep content, pile of other ATVs in the stable. There's one missing here, but we got another one coming. And that's it. We'll guys check you out on the next one. Smash the thumbs up button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you later.